Hi all, my name is Fahim, and in this video I'll be talking about what all I have studied in MongoDB. So first I'll talk about how I studied MongoDB. Um, I mainly use the Mongo University resources. So that is a website of MongoDB themselves, and they have courses for introduction to a course called Introduction to MongoDB, and it's completely free, right? So I mainly follow that to get a base of everything, and it was a really good resource because there are three types of resources on there. For each module, they have videos first, and then they have labs. That is, we actually had to type out the code for the questions, and then we had to submit those to complete the lab, and then we also had quizzes. So um, it was a pretty good resource to study MongoDB, and it covered a lot of topics, but it didn't cover everything. I then had to go on to reading some of the documentation, and I read documentation for stuff that was pretty complicated. I read the documentation one or two times, and then I went on ahead and watched some videos, and then I took some notes for that, and like I wrote down what I understood without looking anywhere, and then I put those into ChatGPT and told ChatGPT to correct my understanding, and I was able to get a pretty good understanding of things. So that's how I studied MongoDB, and I also used the document that we are given, some questions we get, right? So I completed those after I studied everything. It was like just to refresh everything and make sure I remember all of the syntax for everything. And I also used there's a 1 hour video from Bro Code. um, I watched that after everything. After I studied almost everything, I watched that to get a quick refresher of everything, and it was 1 hour, but I skipped through everything. I didn't sit through the whole 1 hour, and yeah, that's how I studied MongoDB. So talking about MongoDB, MongoDB is a NoSQL database management system in which um, it's a document model. That means unlike relational databases like MySQL and Postgres, it doesn't store data in tables and rows. It actually stores data in documents that have fields. So each field is like a row in um, a relational database, but the difference is that MongoDB's documents are much more flexible. So within the same collection, you can have documents that don't resemble themselves. So for example, if in one document you have a phone numbers field, then you can have another document that does not actually have that field. So this is why MongoDB is pretty good for flexibility, but then also that can also become a limitation, because if you want control over what all fields are actually, what all fields should actually be inside the document, then this becomes a problem. But also again, there's something called schema validation that we can use to make sure that the document follows a set number of constraints. So that is about the architecture of MongoDB. And the main thing that we have to know to work with MongoDB is CRUD operations and also aggregation. Let's talk about CRUD first. CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. And there are a few methods you have to know to use CRUD. So to insert document, first of all, to find documents, you can use find and find many, and you can also method chaining is something which you can do. For example, if you want to find the number of documents that have the age 18, then you want to find the number of people that actually have that many, then you can method chain it with dot count. And there are also other method chaining methods like limit that you can use, and sort also. So that's for querying the document or getting output. um, then to write into documents, you can use insert one and insert many, and there's update one, update many. And reading, you can, as I said, find methods, and to delete you can delete one, delete many. And that's mainly all you need to know to work with MongoDB databases. But you also have to know aggregation, which is a very powerful tool that allows for us to get a structured output, or an output for whatever we need from our collections. It allows for data manipulation, calculations, and sorting and limiting. Everything is possible with aggregation, but the only thing that you cannot do is modify the actual document itself. It's just to get the final output, but you can't actually modify what's in the document. So in aggregation there are many stages, and I thought there weren't that many, but when I went into the documentation, there's like more than 10-15 stages to aggregation. So talking about stages, what are stages? Stages is each stage does something to the our collection, right? So for example, there is the match stage, which is like using the find and the curly braces. So the match stage, it returns all of the documents that fulfills the specified condition, and then that's what the match stage is. And then we have the project stage and the sort stage, and we have also um, unwind stages and search stages. So there's like many stages that are to be learned. It's pretty confusing, but I think it comes with practice, and obviously you can look up whenever you want when you get stuck on something. So that's what aggregation is. And then that's what everything, all of this I learned from this MongoDB course, right? Then afterwards I started reading the documentation, because I first checked the pendings of a few people, and there were these topics like replication and sharding, so transactions also. So I went on ahead and read the documentation for these. But in the beginning, when taking the case of sharding and also transactions, I didn't actually understand them very much. I understood something, but I didn't understand that very clearly. So what I did was I read the documentation, and then I wrote down some points, something that I understood. Then I went on ahead and I watched some videos of MongoDB. The MongoDB has videos for all of the topics on YouTube, and it was like half an hour video. I wasn't like 1.5x or 2x, and that gave me a proper full understanding of everything, because I read the documentation, I know something, but the idea is not completely clear yet, right? So then when I watch the video, I get a proper understanding of what is, for example, replication, or transactions and sharding and everything. So I was then able to understand all of those. So I'll talk about sharding a bit, I guess. So sharding is what allows for us to horizontally scale our database. We can either vertically scale or horizontally scale. Vertically scaling is when we upgrade the server, or we have a server with this much capacity. We just buy a new one or add some resource into the server to make it a bit more, its capacity more. That is vertical scaling, which is very costly, because replacing or adding new components into a server is often much more costly than just buying a new server. So buying a new server, or horizontally scaling, that's what horizontally scaling is, adding more servers to our database. So that is the two types of scaling, and MongoDB supports horizontal scaling through sharding. Sharding is the process of breaking down our collection into many pieces and put them into these shards, or just servers. The servers are called shards, and we can we divide these collections based on a shard key that might be the primary, I mean the underscore ID, but usually it's some other field that it depends upon the use case. So we define a shard key, and it is based upon this shard key that we distribute our data. And there are many types of shardings. So there's range based sharding and hashing based sharding, zone based sharding. Yeah, And there are a few more types of sharding, and yeah, that's what sharding is. That's what I understood. And then there's also transactions and replications. So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.